Mr. Fofana.
I hope you had a good lunch.
Yes, I've had a good lunch.
And are you ready to proceed with the rest of your testimony?
Yes, I'm ready.
May I kindly remind you that we're going into the 18th day of May 2012 when Omar Fofana was arrested and detained.
Akabe hakilo bulan kombe afolo la mekaro tiltan inside 2012 bre ba kausumuta lume ya muta.
Can you tell us whether on that day you were present at home?
Ko foi sa fo no nye wolum ayeta suwa kono le bang.
Entra suwa kono.
Yes, I was at home.
Yeah, just tell us how it started up to the point that he was arrested.
Afonye nkolu damuta tanyadi le hanu fo nyili nata watu memfoka na muta.
Please go ahead.
How it happened?
12 May.
As I said before, on the 12th of May, after talking to Imam Fati on telephone, he told me, yes, Bakausu's problems will come to an end. He did a khutbah the following Friday after my discussion with him. He said, Imam Fati said a lot of things in his khutbah that day just to make the president angry against Bakausu. That happened on the 18th of May.
So Yakuba
Baji and others came to our home.
Sorry, NIA nada suokono manka Yakuba nyoldi.
NIA, it was the NIA who first came, not Yankuba. They didn't find Bakausu at home. Because that day I personally went out with Bakausu to attend one of our students' naming ceremony. So I was there, but Bakausu went to another place and said at 4 o'clock he will come back there so that he can preach at the naming ceremony.
Since you were not at home at that time, can you tell us who gave you this information?
It was a friend to Bakausu called Pasonko. He gave me this information.
Did he tell you who the NIA officer was?
He informed Bakausu that the people who are coming to arrest you are very bad people. Whenever they go for arrests, they do very bad things. They are not peaceful people. If you can even leave your home, don't be at home when they come.
My question was whether the NIA officer identified himself to Pasonko and whether he knew him. NIA officer for I have the Pasonko warrant for I alone about.
Well, Pa doesn't know him, but the man, the way he behaved, made Pa to suspect that he is one of the security agents.
You mentioned NIA, so from his behavior, he suspected that he was an NIA officer. Is that correct?
Yes.
Tell us how he was behaving and then proceed to tell us what happened thereafter.
Yeah, later on, Bakausu called me to inform me that he got this information that the NIA came home. So they were looking for him. But that day, I told Bakausu, why don't you leave the country? Because where we are is very close to the border. And these people are bent on harassing you.
Bakausu kwenye kwenda fundi la karo mbedi no la kwende ka mantra jene la mantra sunyar mantra fena ala kwa kila kwa nibe mfala kwa nibe mutawaka.
Bakausu said, I'm not going to leave my country. I haven't killed anybody. I haven't insulted anybody. I am not a thief. I'm not creating problems for anybody. I'm not causing any violence. If they are going to kill me, let them kill me. Whatever they want to do, let them do it to me. because what I'm doing is just to propagate Islam. Then they called him. When they called him, he decided to tell them where he was exactly, and they decided to come and meet him there.
Biri yatra mem fana wako ko barba kausula alfa na la bunya be banko kanya malena kamanda fana ya mole ya foko itare arrest ngine ko ko dukaranga dana kai ko hanin takela.
Well, when they arrived at the venue, the Bakausu's host told them that Bakausu is a well-respected person in this country, and now he is in my home. I am his host at this present moment.
Can you tell us who you're referring to by they?
Niko itolu. Ifo isa fono nyolem jumalti.
Ennata no majiba.
Is it those who came to collect him?
Yes.
No, he said he doesn't know their names.
Maybe
Bakausu will know them.
Does he know how many of them there were?
I don't know.
No, I don't know how many people came there too.
And you already mentioned that they were from the NIA.
Yeah, for Ganja, but NIA labunda fanal.
Birba Kausenda Kumandi, Bekulilla, brief Radama for Anibita, Anibesilo, action, na Kafin Bejam Ben Sata Carfo, Biribeduna, Bombadinka.
Yes, how I know that they were NIA, because when Bakausu called me, he was explaining to me how they were behaving, and even on the way going, Bakausu used to call me and tell me we are at this point, we are at so and so point, until they reached the place called Bambadinka at the NIA premises.
Please tell us how he was arrested.
Fanya ba yebulola akanyadi le, yamuta nyadi le.
Yamuta Birikama Silla.
They arrested him at Brikama at a man's compound called Silla.
Sabri nada bria kwenye ko Bambadinka watonda Kairadla because intena inana enda sifanga sambajele.
Because when they arrived at the NIA, he told me that now we have arrived at a place called Bambadinka. I told him Bambadinka is a very dangerous place because the witness said he himself was once taken to that place.
Ya nala talba dola samba wala mo Adama Sediti.
He was arrested along with one of his students called Adama Seidi.
Ndafana bo kulila biringa alansaro sal nyamandron nsada nga bayni banjun.
So I was also attending a naming ceremony. But around 5 o'clock, after I prayed the 5 o'clock prayers, I went to Banjul to go and check on him. When I arrived at the NIA premises, the man I found at the gate, his surname is Koli. I told him that I am here to check on Bakausu because we've had information that he was arrested and brought to this place. He told me that Bakausu is not here. I told him, no, he is here. Then I had an argument with that man. I told him the man arrested along with Bakausu is a very sensible person. And that man cannot be just lost into thin air after they were brought here. He told me, if you don't leave these premises, you yourself will find yourself in serious trouble. There was someone with this man, Koli, at the gate. That man then told me that go to the CID office, you might find him there.
And which CID office are you referring to?
Niko CID office, be CID Jumala. CID office Juma.
CID konyo oenda rek mena ko bitani gane ko fra jebe makarsuka ma fanna wol nenta fana tata folotor.
He told me that office is around the Makati Square. That was my first day to go and check around that place. When I arrived at that place, they told me that Bakausu is not here.
Can you tell us which place you are referring to?
The office in Banjul.
Are you referring to the police headquarters in Banjul?
Meya fonda ko janne ka fura meta makasukara ko NIA la also CID la also be entara korda dol je wakonyo ko wolkonyo ka je wolna na vonte data Banjul headquarters.
The man who directed me told me that the office is just at a place before you reach the Makati Square.
Please go ahead.
But when I arrived at that place, they told me, no, this place is not the office you wanted to go to. But go to the main police headquarters. There is a side office there.
And before we get to the police headquarters, I just wanted to recap some of what you said. You said you were in touch with Bakausu when he was arrested and up to the point where he was taken into Bambalika. Is that correct?
Police headquarters men keraje. Ya fonu janko Bakausu. Tumala men waro men ya mura waro ina kanyo mwele. Jani ba sambala futan la futembera men kabri ifurata Bambadinka. Lafta ka wolto sa foto nyala wodi ba.
Birabe dunna je bunda ko ngo Bambadinka nene nata damanto because ndel folo nane ndel folo samanu je.
Yes, in fact I was communicating with him because he told me that, well, we have arrived at a place called Bambadinka, as you once told me, because the witness said he was once arrested and taken to that place called Bambadinka. He said, the witness said, Bakausu informed him that if you are coming to check on me, come to Bambadinka.
Okay, Brindara Banyu police, Okra, Talaworo, Waro, Ngaminita, Yokonyo, Ji, Waro, Moljira, Barbakausu, and Tamaji Jang, Fonitara for Sama.
Well, when I arrived at the police headquarters, the people I found there told me that by that time it was around 6 p.m. People have already closed from work. So the man I found there told me that, well, people have closed and gone home. But I don't think Bakausu is at this place. But you can go and come back tomorrow. I went to the old lines. They also told me that Bakausu is not here. That's how I went home, because it was getting late, and when I arrived at home, it was already night. When I arrived at home, I went to our father straight. I explained the matter to him. I told him that, well, Bakausu has been arrested, but I have been going round. I started at the NIA. From there, I went to that office, and from the office, I went to the Banjul Police Headquarters, but I cannot find him. They said he is not at any of these venues. Then my father then shouted and said that, well, my son has disappeared. Then he said, I might not ever see my son again. But I told him, no, you will see him again.
Adi wala na nake for alhamdulillah akonyi na naselam famala ata high blood bala wala keta la saya la tariate ala takola.
Well, so from that day, my father never again saw Bakausu. And in fact, it was Bakausu's disappearance which gave our father a serious problem, because he has been a high blood patient. And when this thing happened, that time, his blood level rose up. And from that day, he never regained himself. That sickness, that's how our father died.
Yeah, Natalbo me yani mensa ba samoni Natalbo sotaje somanda.
The following morning, I went there again with one of our students.
No better yango ila bundara kununga mentra yango mo kilontraje kote.
So when I arrived at the NIA headquarters at the gate, the man I found there the previous day was the same man there again. That man, the Taliban I went with, or the student I went with, is Adama Seidi. We asked them again, they said Bakausu is not here.
Ntele nimba kausu nata jambiri ya mutan dunda kondanga alansaro sar ya kurano anala nyin josrang anala tasabo anala kala ya bana kala nala samdo ya dia telefon la ya kitabo ni tasabo ni kala dinante no set.
Then the student told the gate man that Bakausu is right here, because I was the person who accompanied him up to this point yesterday. They took him inside. His Quran was taken from him. His counting beads were taken from him. His head cover was taken from him, and some of his other belongings. And that's the time they took him inside. And you people were the very people who these things were handed over to. So I am the student who came here with him, and that's the time they gave me his head cover and his counting beads, and I went along home with those things. So I believe that he is still here.
So what talbo fon na mi na dun na nyolo fonde fon ko talbo mane o ka ko be jene karamo be jane be kuma fulamente tonyati.
So the student went on to tell the man, you are not telling the truth. Our teacher is still here because I accompanied him up to this point here yesterday. So in fact, it wanted to become an argument or even a quarrel between the two of them. Then I told the student, no, don't have a quarrel with him. Because the student is from Senegal. I told him, your people, your relatives are far from this place. And if you happen to have a problem, if they arrest you, it is going to be something serious for us. You just keep quiet, let's go home. I will come back another day.
And apart from what Mr. Siri was saying, that he had actually accompanied Bakausu up to that point, you also received phone calls from Bakausu telling you up to the point he went into Bambadinka.
Mr. Siri la ka fo ko ntenim Bakausu fo nata fo jang fo NIA jang. Andu ite fana nginim Bakausu ka tartanu ka diamu telephone fo tembera ko
Yes, this is what happened. This is why I believed that Bakausu is still at that place.
You also mentioned that you're aware of Bambadinka because you actually were there at some point. Is that correct?
Andu ya fanango ite fango kundingo Bambadinka dinkiranyi yeje lonne kadon wati nana sorota ite fango nana inane yesamba je foto nyale.
Yulle ntilimbali amarlo dronamu mbar muso ni wafana be bakilin fakilin ay taxi sa di drive la ena dole mu apata na jara baro kundala bulata moto kala mo balo filter moto kona sita ko mala to ko be drive la bulu.
Well, my sister from the same mother and father with me bought a taxi which he gave to somebody to drive for her. And that driver once took a passenger who lost his mobile. And later on, this person claimed that his mobile was stolen by the driver of my sister's taxi. So this is how the case reached the security officers. And that's the case which took me to the NIA, because when they came, they were behaving in a very erratic way.
Yo NIA nada kwa ko fo driver mobile nyinjo nka ko pasase motor mun pasase si mobile to monela ata driver mata ni mobile ka ko ring bara mantra driver nyamba asama break am police station.
So when this case happened, the driver, they wanted him to pay the mobile. But I told the NIA officer, but this man is not having the mobile. Because if they call the mobile, it rings. And the driver was there, the mobile was not with him. But when they call the mobile, it rings, but nobody takes the call. I told them, now, you know that the mobile is with somebody, because look at the driver standing here, and the mobile is not ringing in his pocket. Now, how can you charge him to tell him to pay for the mobile? So this is how I quarreled with that NIA officer.
And please tell us how you eventually got into Bambadinka.
Sila afanya bankube nya laba onyi ite nara na Bambadinka nyadi.
Konte to ako mobile be jola dala suwili saba mbar muso ko wandi dongo ara o driver ya bula selo ko bir kam selo o be kumbala ko wandi donta ya woy dala suwili saba yonka ko do ate abetale bulle dia ko ya yen telephone ne NIA fon dia mo dan ka ko atule NIA la kakla fa be sabi so jela mo le kan ko nyebo fo ka foda atule mo muneti.
Then they said by force the driver has to pay the mobile. They even put him in a cell, and the driver was crying inside the cell. And my sister said, no problem, she's going to pay for the mobile. I said, no, over my dead body. You will not pay the mobile at this point. Then this is which caused the disagreement between me and the NIA officer. In fact, when the NIA officer called my sister, I received the call from the NIA officer. I told the NIA officer, this is how you take advantage over people. How can you charge this man to pay for the mobile that he didn't steal, or he doesn't know anywhere about, he doesn't know the whereabouts of the mobile? This money will not be paid.
Mr. Fofana, we just want to know when you eventually got to Bambadinka and how you got into Bambadinka.
La vita ka lonna Mr. Fofana. Ko be nya laba onyi inara dunno Bambadinka nyadi andu ye dundi je nyadi sifa nyadi la.
Unfortunately, we don't have enough time. And this is just by the way. We just wanted to know how come you knew about Bambadinka.
After la ka londro ye bulandi Bambadinka nyadi ka to sante mon wato nying abenkane.
Sa wala me nade la moto ta inara nda fana fa no mabundu wotma ko nga fo yambe taxi la ngana moto di mo lay mon na otraje inara itare na moto fa aresi o fana samba Bambadinka namoto ila je natanta fa konfawanta nan daraje yamuta je kanditan je kam munki dasindi anen kanyo kesol dandi taylo kan kumbalon kanyo kan kabrin somanda fo wuraro munki da ni bodo dola eta dola.
Well, how I was arrested was that I was a taxi driver myself at that time. They came, I gave somebody my vehicle. I personally was not at my vehicle. They decided to come and take my vehicle by force and took it to the NIA headquarters. When I went there to check on my vehicle, that's the time when they arrested me. They took me inside. What they first did to me was they spilled some coups on tiles and told me to kneel inside those, on top of those coups on top of the tile, which is very painful. And they made me to do monkey dance there also that day. So this is how I got to Bambadinka.
Thank you for that information. We are actually interested in it. I don't know if you would want to give a statement to the investigators after you finish your testimony just on that specific event.
Wokuwa nying abensula la baka la malon fo iba nila sede andro nying botala fo ibela flakela kibaro nying kuma ko nyindi kiskisirla la ka me investigator kanun ela infanna nying jensula baka la kajelon.
That is your particular ordeal at the NIA.
Wala defan kundingo ko melate kan NIA la dingirado.
Please go on.
Tenteng.
And just continue from where you stop.
Ye tenteng kaboy lora damento.
Biro kera godmo mem yansa mabbe men bulja oto mo Yusuf Chamler sukuta.
The man who I was handed over to at the NIA is a man called Yusufa Cham from Sukuta.
No, Mr. Fofana, we finished your ordeal on the NIA. We want you to continue from the second day of Bakhausu's detention when you and Ibrahim Asedi went to the NIA.
Adam Asedi.
Saying I'm for William Yindu, Itala Fanala, Bota Wotole. Left a Bakhaus, the Tilifulanja in Cabria Muta, eating Adam Asedi, Altara NIA. You wrote a water, left a tenta Kabor. Okay,
Birina Adamas Fanaseta.
So when we were unable to go in, I went home with Adama.
Asamon Daraban Imam ya Imam Ka.
The following day, I went to Imam Ka, the Imam Ratib of Banjul.
Okay, Bakhaus ya fire Karfetel Majam.
I told him, you are the honorary father to Bakhausu here.
So I told him President Konyo General.
You people have the facility, or you people are able to see with the president.
Because for a bit later, Jawata Baka, Maja didn't tell California, Maya, Purusilo, no, your call and the Purunsi Baka, no Yami.
Bakhausu has been taken to a place and we are denied to get access to him. And we know that you have the chance to talk to the president. Can you help us? He told me then, I will hold prayers, and apart from that, we will do our best and see what we can do. The following day, again, I went back to Banjul. That was the fourth day of his arrest. But on that day, Bakhausu's son died.
What more didn't got to Kumbola, Buke for my young Toloka for Kotlafle, Uraro, Baba Mina, Suta Mina, but Mutotil Nanjan, Konyako be from Abatunel.
I believe, sorry, Mr. Interpreter, I believe he said daughter, not son.
Adimuso Fodinke?
Muso.
Okay, daughter, sorry about that. So on the fourth day of his arrest, the day that this child died, from day one when he was arrested, these children kept on crying, asking for their father until that day. So that day, they even refused to go to bed. They said that they will wait for their father. Because what we told them that day was, your father will come at night. So the children said they are not going to sleep, they are going to wait for their father.
Suro di non kote lala bikon drokatle nene la fitro amina sura amina fitro nane la benda benton kanje buloko belarim bakasula bonda na kosa samaka bon wuli ni yabe buloko membela nyam kumo limboro beta buloko joronta na dinno sisoka.
That day the children refused to go to bed. So outside on the bench there is a bench where we used to sit down and lie down at night. So that day the children decided to go and lie down on that bench. So on top of the roof there was an area where a cement block was placed so that in the rainy season, when it is windy, the corrugate makes some noise. So that's why a cement block was placed there. So the cats were running on the roof, and accidentally, I think they pushed the cement block which fell on the chest of the little child who was lying on the bench.
So that death was accidental, wasn't it?
Birabara nga samba sukura health center wale jiola ko nyimbe dan ya samba banyu suro talansa ba wale kilo suro talansa ba bantande be sokone yankolna.
Yes, when that happened, we took the child to the Sukuta Health Center. They referred them to go to the Banjul hospital, and they continued and went to Banjul hospital. But around 3 a.m. at night, I received a call from them. They told me that the child has passed away.
We are really sorry about that, Mr. Fofana. What was the mood like in your house that day following the death of Bakausu's daughter, as well as the fact that your father, who was elderly, had received the news about Bakausu's disappearance, and you've already told us about how he reacted to that? What was the general mood in the compound?
Bakausu kabri ya muta itata yafo ifama salamita ko ya dingo ye mandilo ni ku ya nyimfana ba akang alfama akang sa ni ku ya fulo be kafu nyoma dinno la saya ani Bakausu la muto ifama la ni ku la fata ifama ka ulun kordani kono ji ni ku ya nyimbi la ani be kafu nyoma ni ku ya nyim kordani kono aketa nyaadi la su kono je timbal la karola
waron dola ko manda mo mala katama bara hakilo fa mantramba ni ku ya bota karo bela mfama be mulu high blood bala Bakausu be surrounding dino banda mfama fana kuma ka mfa ko adiwa yamanta tajela ko miro benda fana ko embata ni bakele.
There was total confusion in the compound. Bakausu has been arrested. Our father, his high blood has attacked him, and we were in the compound like that. And the news of this child's death also came to us at home, which made matters worse. So there was total confusion in the compound. So this is the state of affairs in the compound at that night.
Were you able to get this news to Bakausu? That his daughter has passed away.
Bino dino bade wole ha watola mutra ko ga tenten ndara banyun pour kara fo en futata NIA ko ngo mo kilometre je ko rek.
The following day we buried the child in the morning. So I decided to go back to Banjul again to the NIA headquarters so that I will try again if I can be able to see Bakausu. I found the same man there again at the gate. I found him there with other people that day. I told them I am here to check about Bakausu's affair again. I told them, yes, they told me that we have told you not to come back again. This, we have told you about this about 4 times, not to come back here, and you are here again. I told them, yes, well, today my mission here is I have a message for Bakausu because his daughter has passed away. So if I am sending this message to him through you people. If you inform him, well and good. If you don't inform him, I have already given you the message, but that is my mission here today. That's how I turned and went back home.
And this was day 5 of Bakausu's detention.
Yes.
Did anything happen the next day?
Ofana ning Bakausu la kafnyo ya kuba fati modlam fati abetu abdu sai we karan lola batinya kola wolum fana no tara banyo elders council pour kata fo dole o telephone ka alta banyo elders council wala alfa kafol membeje
wolum jumati modlam fati fo yankuba fati
modlam ndolka fati modlam fati sorry yakuba fati fati.
Yes, his name is Yankuba Fati. The 6th day I went with him to meet the Banjul elders because we were still trying trying ways how we can see Bakausu. So this is why we decided to go to the Banjul elders and see them if they can help us.
Dara wala member sodo ya buru no nya nyoje ngakumo explain wo fana ko nyoko sai alisita ninna alfalbe nyoje la pour nsirano secteur ya nyokubaya.
So he also told us, okay, now you can go home, because he's one of the Banjul Muslim elders. He told us, you can go home now. I'll also call some other members of our committee, and we will go to Mr. Njoguba and see if he can help us.
Can you tell us who was Mr. Njoguba?
He was the Secretary General at Yaya Jammeh's government.
And why did you go and see him?
We went to a member of the Banjul Elders Committee, so that he is the person who told us that he will see Njoguba, because we know that Njoguba is somebody who is influential in those days. From there, we decided to go and see another important religious leader. He is of late now. He was the head of the Jahanka clan called Alhaji Wahab Jabi.
You didn't tell us what happened during your meeting with Njoguba, or whether you actually saw him.
Non tolna ma ñoje den taro bajun council member wala ko adin jok ani tol meeting da e betra pour ni jok basu ñoy butu o ko ñen me o janna on tol ko mbado ngata dina alfa alfanalia.
We didn't go to Njoguba ourselves. We went to Banjul Muslim elders, one of their committee members. He informed us that he will call some council members and they will go and meet Njoguba. That's how things went. But it took some time before we got any information from them. So this is why we decided to go to this religious leader called Alhaji Wahab Jabi.
And tell us what happened in summary.
From
there, to make things shorter, we also decided to go and see the sheriff of Brufut. Sheriff Keba Hydra. We told him to help us if you are able, or if you can try and see Yaya Jammeh, or you can send somebody to him. The old man told us that I will not go to Yaya Jammeh, but I will go to I will try and call the creator of all of us, who happens to be Allah. He will answer to Allah's call. Akonya luolu mbedala subile kilindi lala ne mabula baka sula tabiru joram barimbe ala dan na tome na ninga akfali alu mena jumalo na la gadba baka sujalan. The old man told us that I will hold prayers for him, but the kind of prayers that I'm going to do, you will see Bakausu on Friday with Allah's help. But every day from now up to that day, I'll give you $1,000 for Bakausu's food.
Was Bakausu released eventually?
Awolo kuma kanga birava sadafa lo jumalo menga jumo sada sadafa waro nga bondi drong montro war kilin drong yang kol nang bamba dinka ba kausula muso ya kole kay ko ba kaus ya la muso ka kay fo Omar ko ena ID card samana.
Well, that's how things happened, because the sheriff told us to take out a certain charity. We took out that charity. So on Friday, Bakausu called his wife and told her to bring his ID card for him at the NIA premises.
Saina na ID card wala nyama budon confirm ko Bakausu yang kumandro ka kongata kamana.
Well, I took the ID card from the wife and I went to our father and informed him that Bakausu has called for us to go and get him.
Sa birintara tara kamana nga birintara state house bamba dinga nga njoku bala traje aning Usman Sonko interior minister wato.
So when we went to the NIA premises at Bambadinka, we found Joguba there plus the interior minister Usman Sonko.
Before you get there, can you tell us how many days into his detention this was?
For yourself, on a Janive for the Loro, Ninketa Tilo Nangamu Jumala, Gabriya Muda.
Tilukonda welcome Bambadinka.
He spent 9 days there at Bambadinka.
carry on after you found Joguba, the Secretary General at the time, and also Usman Sonko, the Minister of Interior.
Ten kamen tu kabin tumala men altara kama ali Joguba taraje aning Usman Sonko Minister me marling Interior la.
Aning Usman Sise Kerwan Sound.
We've also found Usman Sise there, the proprietor of Kerawan Sounds.
Ani Yakuba Baji.
Plus Yankuba Baji.
Ani Sukuta.
And
Sukuta Jambe.
And Sukuta Jamme.
Who was Yankuba Baji?
Jumala munu Yankuba Baji ti.
Atabina ba kosula arrest laba mina war matele ena la kebari Yakuba Baji.
When Bakaus was lastly arrested, Yankuba Baji happened to be the head of the NIA at that time.
Barwaro ba kosula muda follow what mo Sukuta Jambe ko lamu.
Mr. Fofana, I would like to ask you another question. Do you know what his position was at that time?
Yala makamolo ne bang wa tola bang.
Yakuba Baji.
You referring to Yankuba Baji?
Yes, I am.
Sinkamore ko NIA ma de katre mula boss.
I used to hear that he was the head of the NIA. He was their boss at that time.
Who was Sukuta Jame?
Jumala munu ni Sukuta Jamme ti.
Sukuta Jama fana na lom fanga mta jeno la jero la denken yala. Ila bakasu arrest ni tara je bakasu manga tra ka fa Sukuta la mula boss ti Sukuta Jambe ngara kabara bakaw.
Yes, I don't know Sukuta himself personally, but all those times that I have been going there to check about Bakausus, when I ask other people and talk to other people, what they always tell me is that try and see Sukuta Jamme. He is also another head of the NIA, but he lives in Bakau.
Do you know what all these security chiefs were doing at the NIA on that day?
Ila Londoro lungola. Lungwene tara je Bakause kumane puru ya bula. Ning tanko bunda molla nyaton kolbe yin mentraje mun ibe ka mun kenunje
birin tol dunda yalla bamba dinga bu korda be korda ko birin tol dunda follow don tol danda konsa ne Allah yani dunda tol danda sal ba to luwoto follow.
Well, at the NIA it is a building within a building, so when we entered we stopped at their first main parlor.
My question was whether you knew what they were doing there.
Kamen nyinin ka wala nyinin tanko bunda molla nyaton kol iyalo ne kamune kenun jeba
kamen ke NIA je
ali bawo ko yetaraje le
hange taraje bari kamen ke ba ka sula jam mo
kamen ke je tarta munela nunje mune ya sabu taraje
me sabu ye pour kana ba ka bel wala samana.
Well, I learned that they were there to effect a bail for Bakausu.
Usman Kerwan Sound Usman Sise wala ba ka karande wala bail.
Usman Sise from the Kerawan Sounds is the man who guaranteed the bail for Bakausu.
Was he bailed eventually?
Yes, he was bailed.
In what sum?
Ya bail sarta jumale kan.
Bakausu ko nyale ID card samana nka korda karoda ko hana ko ID card ne manyina ko wil talulu bar Usman Sise wala kata 40 wil talulo yin.
Well, he asked for his ID card. I even asked Bakausu for our compound lease documents. He said, no, let them just bring the ID card. But we learned that Usman Sise was the guarantor, and it was the amount of $50,000 which was requested.
Was Bakausu released after the bail bond was made?
Yeah, he was released.
Did any of the security chiefs, Usman Sonko, as well as Yankuba Baji, did they say anything?
Fo tanko bunda molla nyaton kol men belunje Usman Sonko ani Yankuba Baji. Fo kuma soro da ban kuma kan to ba yemen fo ban.
Enemba ko ya ko be da programme de da contrôler. Fundindu la ton telni benta fu konsa ngam fo la banda yen tolni benta wolto atene interior minister ni fenga secretary general.
Well, what happened is that they arranged everything inside with Bakausu himself. So, as I said before, we stopped in the first main parlor after entering the premises. So they came with Bakausu and found us there. That's where they handed Bakausu to us with his head cover and Ikala Kalonimu plus his shoes. This is how they handed him over to us, and he was with Njoguba Ninjuma,
Ane Usman Interior Minister Usman Sonko membe nje.
He came out with Mr. Njoguba and Usman Sonko, the then Interior Minister.
And this was the first time you were seeing Bakausu in 9 days?
Amunta wolungolan lum folode inyalo da Bakausu kan kapu tilikonondo.
Ha wonna na je folode otil volume darakam.
That was the first time I set eyes on him, that the time we went to him, we went for him.
Did you observe anything about Bakausu, his condition?
Wolungola kabri nya boyta kan fo kusoro la be men koro sala ko bang ala halo be nyamen bang.
Ha woluni okata back.
I felt very unhappy that day. The unhappiness I felt, I never had that kind of unhappiness in my whole life. Because the Bakausu I know and the Bakausu I saw that day, his whole body was covered with mosquito bites, from his face to every part of his body. He told me everything will once come to an end. When we took him home,
and apart from the mosquito bites, did you observe anything else about him?
Ninga bora susula len kindiro la balo bala fo ku do so ndela ba yemen korosa balo bala ba
Konso ala alfa ya Kenya be nyante fam bukala fe ngaku korosa bala ba ko because Bakausu alfa ya la kadenka bala do.
Well, Bakausu is an elderly person, and he usually wears these big shirts. So this is why I don't like scrutinizing him too much. Because this is why I didn't even question him. What I observed about him is what I said. So the reason for not questioning him is maybe he might tell me something which will make me more unhappy.
And after, go ahead.
But his finger was broken there. I personally went to collect the person who really works on people's broken bones. I went to collect that person and come with the person. That was the man who mended his finger.
And this was after you arrived home, is that correct?
Nga bulo korosi janne nga fundi mail tu nga bulo je nyama kara bulo be yitna bulo be nyama man ka ben fura so kono na ro fany.
Well, yes, when I saw him initially at the NIA premises, his finger that was broken was seriously swollen. I saw that with my eyes. Then when we left, when we reached home, he himself explained the finger to me.
Mr. Interpreter, I believe I heard the witness say mile 2. Perhaps I was
mile 2.
mistaken.
Yeah, mile 2 for Lebang.
Can you clarify?
Bambadinka.
No, he said he didn't mention mile 2. He said it was Bambadinka.
Okay.
So when they
arrived at home that day, they cried like if somebody has died. People started calling from all places, friends, relatives, and all the well-wishers started pouring into the compound. And some journalists also came. Bakausu said the stroke, he was beaten around 150 strokes of a cane. He said maybe he himself, some things happened to him which he didn't narrate to me. Maybe he will narrate that he himself when he comes. But he said it was Allah who helped and protected him.
So
I told him we should take you to the hospital, but he said no, he declined. I told him, but it's not safe for you to sit down like this, because the place where you were, and even the mosquito bites, can cause malaria for you. But he said no. Then he told me, as far as a lot of people have come from far and wide to come and check on me, let's wait for 2 days. We will see what happens within those 2 days.
And you've already mentioned that he received over 100 lashes. What about his broken finger? Do you know how he sustained that?
Iko ya ko jam fanan ko ay akoy ko ay busa nyamen kala dala fo busa nya kemen feng fo asa yalo na bul ko no men kade yalo na yo fanan soto nyaadi mem
ha yo fana do mandim fo
Yes, he mentioned it in his discussion.
Because sudo la ko kana kan.
He said they always come for him at night.
Talankelem sudo.
Around 1 a.m.
Mo jamalu.
A lot of them.
Inen camera fana.
They always come with a camera.
Dol ba camera la.
Some were taking, filming whatever was happening.
Concerning dola bulo musa ka bulo ngai foka bulo kati.
Sometimes they will come and catch his hands and turn it around.
Atafanka ni dunta nyola je bag.
Or to the point that's how he sustained that broken finger. He said, in fact, at a point, he fought with them.
Ka kumulu njaw be ka mandiate.
They did all sorts of bad things to him there.
Barakonata balado alato aka alato dronaf.
But he said whenever that's happening, he used to invoke Allah's name.
And did he tell you who these people were who carried out the torture on him?
For I for never more men yin call kala kain libana fire more for never.
No, I'm more to for you, but for legend karo mo kilim do ye wa found to for legend karo yang oji betelet.
Well, he didn't tell me or inform me about any names, but there is one of them who himself talked about what he did, and in fact it was during that person's testimony here that he said something about Bakausu, which I personally watched on TV.
And who was that?
Jumale Omariti.
Wala mga raka wa Omar Jallo wala Oya laba.
The man called Omar Jallo alias Oya.
Bir walum fanga jube telo don ko nilu wata kere nying as yaranga na bendu njang.
When I watched that on TV, I said, had it not been for the law, I would have gone for this man myself.
Karuluma yakwa baji nyol nata na suokono.
Because the day that Yankuba Baji and others came to our home,
nde fa la parandi wala kama ni muru jaw ba fa dam min tala fata kelo la ndara mol fan ko man kelo ba dam bi ba ko sta fundila.
That day I prepared for a war or even to fight these people. In fact, I decided to go for a cutlass and a knife. In fact, I called some people to come and join me to fight these people. I called the people I called. One of them is called Fode Marong. I called somebody also, Imatolo.
Fode Marong, Sankawa.
Fode Marong, Atelet Boita.
Because one of some telephone.
Okay, when I was calling these people to come and join me, I fell down. In fact, I still feel that pain on my waist. Because if all things are left to me, Bakausu will not leave the home that day. I was ready to fight anybody who comes into that compound that day. So where things were cooled down is where Bakausu told Yankuba Baji, can you forgive me so that I can have dinner, then we go.
Sorry,
Mr. Witness, we are a bit confused here. I think that you're mixing up the stories. You started telling us that after you heard the testimony of Omar Jallo, alias Oya, that you wanted to do something, but then you decided against it. And we're happy that you decided that you were not going to take the law into your own hands. And then you've got into another story which we don't know. So can you just take it back, and then let's just go into it.
Mr. Fofana, lafta jahas la janne domanding. Iba fokan nenu ko ibe telejube kan nenu yemo moy television na bidiam kan tiara si jamfar memu Omar Jallo de gafa oya ada fam sonda ko ate ada bulata ba kaw la mol kon men ya liba bari ko kabriyo ilam bibo la moy kan lafta luata le bulo kon bari yemira lua ko nyinta yemira lua la don ko men lua ni wonta no ibina ya bendu jandu ye ku jaw kala say bota woro ye fay ku do kono fana wala nyindi ko inata na be mol telephone na ibe mol telephone na fo inata na iboita say after janni bita woro nga jansen yandi follow.
We've already dealt with Bakausu's first arrest. He was detained 9 days incommunicado, and on several occasions you tried to see him but couldn't.
Bakausu la muto nyi ngo folo ya muta tilikononto imageno ye sinya jamal kata kulke pur kata kaje bari make imageno ngo fole.
He was released eventually. You went to pick him up, and then you noticed his condition and came to the conclusion finally after he went home and did interviews with journalists that he was tortured at the NIA.
Inata na bula ko nyinya la mo inata na bula kabri ya bula itata kama ndu kabri ya bule ya bula ya la ko ya jubi al halo be nyamen al narna si so kono badingol nata kanuntel nata journalistol nata so kono.
And you also confirmed that you saw the evidence of that torture on him, and apart from that, you listened to the testimony of Omar Diallo, who confirmed that he was part of the people that tortured him.
Haninga bi fango na ya tonya ndi ko tonya la nyinde ya lipa jele warando mata la jele nyala myano ko sangartale andu inata na fo janko inata na mola sede andro mo tele to jan TRC janvoro mem oyade ko ate fon dablu da mol kono men ya tilimbalia.
Can you tell us whether at any other point Backhouse was arrested again? Or attempts were made to arrest him?
Wesa fono haninka bigaro fo watina na sile kota ka bang ina na Backhouse ya muta ba waranto ye ngani osoro pur kana ka muta kota ngeba fo soro tale bang
biro botala nga inada arrest la kota ke.
Yes, after that he was again arrested.
What date was this?
Nyungulu njumalti
August 15.
This was on the 15th of August.
Which year?
Sanjuma
2012.
2012.
Sunkaro kono.
In the month of Ramadan.
So this was approximately 2 months after his first arrest.
Oda munda nying karifula ron kabring yala muta follow menkala.
May, June, July, August yen kala.
Yeah, his first arrest was in May. June, July, August, again he was arrested.
Tell us how this happened this time.
Say afanya banyinsila do ko nyintara nyali la muta fulanya.
Sunkaro kono Backhouse be kalwala.
In the month of Ramadan, Backhouse used to go into hibernation to pray.
Sunkaro tilemuan ni lulu ntola kontroto.
It was on the 25th of the Ramadan as we counted.
Inada Backhouse arrest suokono.
They came to our home and arrested Backhouse again.
Around 9 o'clock kada 10 kam.
Somanda Furaro.
Suto.
From 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night, that's the time they arrived at home and arrested him.
Please tell us who was there, who came to arrest him.
Sinanga afanya banjumal lam nyinde jumal nada ka arrest.
Triple men nada yakwa baji la mula nyaton kodi.
The trip that came again, Yankuba Baji was leading them.
And that was the director of NIA you just told us about.
Wala NIA la nyaton kodi men na kumofonyi ya sainte.
Hawara temula director.
Yes, he was their then director at that time.
Was he accompanied by anyone else?
Fani mokota nul nara nyola bang.
Ani moto fala nada.
He came with a vehicle full.
Full of what?
Abe fare munna.
Moja comme ça double cabinet ye kono do fani ko ma fandi dol.
Abe fare munela.
Mola.
It was a double cabin filled with people, both front and back.
And these people, do you know where they were from?
Nyimol men nara je. Fiala ne bura dame do bang.
Grina ya ko edande ko bodna aka president la call kay ko ay na Backhouse commande.
Well, what they told us when they arrived was that the president sent them to come and get Backhouse for him.
You mentioned that Yankuba Baji was the director of the NIA. Do you know whether the people that accompanied him were from the NIA or from other security forces?
Ya fo janko iko Yankuba Baji ate bota NIA atele mwila nyaton kodi. Fo ila londo do hanika bi yalo ne fana ni mol melu nara nyola. Fo lo fana mbota NIA le bang. Fo bota na tanko bunda la fana ko tangol le to bang.
No, more kala na Bernard with civilian.
Well, I don't know which branch they belonged to because they were all in mufti. They were not wearing uniform.
Did they arrest Backhouse on that day?
Bolungi nara na Backhouse arrest le bang.
Edunda ba ya ko dunda ba akala ala kalwa bongo Backhouse kay ko ako Backhouse ko president ka lafta mena la state house big gamole beje.
When they came in, Yankuba went into Backhouse's house where he was hibernating and praying. But what Yankuba told him was that the president is having a gamo at State House today. They want you there.
Do you know how did you come by this information?
Birana da Backhouse kan Backhouse ende telefona ko ne dan kuma na batu bon kono jan sen tatan dango yanga yakuba traje.
Well, when Yankuba entered his house, Backhouse called me on the phone and told me, come and see me in the house where I used to hibernate. But when I went into the house, I found Yankuba Baji there.
Yakuba fa wala nan kurtu surong nar.
That day, Yankuba was wearing short trousers.
Backhouse ka bayre diplomacy bata wala ika fundi na kana ene kurtu sutum.
In fact, in my presence, Backhouse told him, you are a very senior person. Now you come out with just these short trousers going into town with these. Yankuba told him that I was called by a very important person. And if a person like that calls you, however you are, that's how you go out to answer to that call.
So akaya ko ako alafta mena ala state house ala gamobe je pour yeta ene abulay fati nyo mola pour council keni diani.
Well, the Yankuba told him that there is a gamo at State House, and the president wants you to go there so that he will talk between you and Modlamin Toure and other members of the council so that you will reconcile.
Anita Fanafang, I do a menkela State House, Purisi Hakotua, because I menkela Purasal Hakotunya, Kirimulong, you Hakabandi Lord.
And also, he himself criticized you to the point of insulting you. And today is Laylatul Qadr, which is the day of Kitim. And today is a day when people should reconcile. So this is why he himself wants to apologize to you.
Akaya ada kodibala fana program ko akonida abesolo fana ke hako ate alsi sono mo nyabo fanal. And
he has prepared a big amount of money which he said he will give to you so that you will forgive him.
Ba kauska nyara hakabola fo council ko nte hakate nte yam fatema nada fana ka ko do mendil na ma dino tele ya samana sa enta to ngana kalwa bantil tan nan nta sinandanko.
Then Bakausu responded to Yankuba and told him that, well, between me and the council, there is nothing wrong between me and them. And between me and he himself, there is nothing wrong. I have forgiven him. And the amount of money that he told you about, if he cannot give it to you to bring that amount of money for me, then don't worry, tell him to take it. Let him allow me to complete my prayers in this hibernation.
40 days.
40 days. So that after the 40 days, I will come and see him.
Akaya barhano do resitano ninge samba jani su bala ba simura ba ka suka ko in kalwa ngonga ni malafi ngokunda ka nin kodola mdo sa kodo man dan la so woman dan a mutaje kansulo yam fata barhano do ka bari ngata.
Well, Bakausu told him that I want to complete the prayers I have started because it should take 40 days. So, and I don't want to cut it. So please go and tell him that if it is the money, don't worry, I'm not worried about money. Let him keep it there. When I come, if he wants to give it to me, he can give it to me. Can you please allow me? But Yankuba said, no, we have to go with you.
Did they eventually arrest him and take him away?
That's
the time when Yankuba told him that the president has just called me to say that we shouldn't leave you here. Now we are going with you. Bakausu told him that now can you allow me to have dinner because I haven't had my dinner. Can you allow me? Then Yankuba said yes, you can have your dinner. I went immediately to inform our father. My father told me to call Yankuba. I told Yankuba he went to see our father. My father told him, let me pray for you people so that you can leave my son alone. So Yankuba told my father that, well, this is the Ramadan. Nobody should create a problem for anybody, but he is wanted by the president. Then my father told him that if it is the money or anything else, I will pray for you, just leave him alone. Yankuba said, no, we cannot leave him here. I went back to Bakausu. I told him, well, there is trouble brewing up. And Bakausu replied and said, yes, really, there is trouble brewing up. And he asked me, what can we do? That's the point when I said that we wanted to fight. I went out to call people to come and attack them. That's the time when I fell down. When I did that, some people really came. Bakausu told Yankuba, now, allow me to pray 2 rakas. Yankuba was inside Bakausu's house by then. Yankuba told the security people that he came with to catch every place in the compound. Some surrounded the compound, somewhere inside the compound.
The farmer kundunguno, what dolman the following doma cover barry. The time of Vesela, some be carrying the Sama Molson, not a Misono and Yantakela, because Bakos, Moli, and Damta, Asama Yantamanaki.
So I was going around. During that, I had one of the security men saying, this man is wasting our time, and it is the rainy season. This rain might make us wet here. Our mission should be carried out. Let's arrest him and go.
Bakaus Salta Wala Yama Bira Pareda.
Bakaus then prayed the two rakas
Biriyakuba Mo
from Yakuba himself
Menbesuokono
and those inside the compound,
Mfama,
our father,
Molibe,
everybody.
Bakasula Kenya.
Bakausu, his affair.
Walla Alam. Alalalo.
Only Allah knows what happened. He disappeared.
Ayamanda Momach.
He disappeared completely. Nobody saw him again.
Yakwa Muram Fama correct.
Yakuba went back to our father.
Aka Bakasu and disappointed back.
He told my father that Bakausu has really disappointed me.
Ngana Bakasu arresting Naje, Ngatra Yanga chance bedi ala for Montro wat fula Bakasu Yama Maj.
I came here to arrest Bakausu, and I gave him time for almost 2 hours. I've been talking to him to arrest and take him away. But Bakausu has now disappeared from the room where I was with him. He told me now, call Bakausu wherever he is, let him come out. I told him, you have his telephone number. Call him. He called Bakausu and there was no response. I told him, we call him on the same number. If you cannot get him, then we will not be able to get him. Because you are the people who came here to arrest him, and he has disappeared. Then it is you people's responsibility. If we don't see him, then we will accuse you people of making him disappear or causing his disappearance. Well, Yankuba went on communicating with somebody. I don't know who he was communicating with, but he was on the line continuously. He said what Bakausu did to him is a disappointment. But whenever he sees with Bakausu, he will also disappoint Bakausu. Well, after some time, we saw another black vehicle which came and stopped at our compound's gate. They also alighted from the vehicle and came into the compound. They told Yankuba, what were you doing until Bakausu escaped?
Did you mention that this group had weapons?
I can't
say that because they might be armed and there are guns which people put in their pockets.
Sojarol wala came back no do dundi ko konote pipe katra kabula ni dakono ngo seda double namira ka sabana do dollar ka sunkada dakono.
Well, one of them was having a bag on his back with a small pipe which he puts in his mouth and he sucks something from that bag. But when I came near him, alcohol, he was stinking of alcohol.
So biro dol fanal nata.
When this new group arrived, they went to my father.
Can we just identify this new group? Did you recognize anybody there or know their name?
This was at night and I cannot recognize them, but I was able to take 2 people's name among them. In fact, it was during discussion that I came to know their names. They also, my father called them also.
Can you tell us the names, please?
He told phone on Yelaba.
Men remember all Timo Yarawolamo loose men.
The man leading this new team is called Louis Mendy. Louis Mendy. He said that was his name. And there was another one called Cisse. Well, I don't know his first name, but he said his surname is Cisse.
And this Louis, you said Louis Mendy, was it Louis Gomez or Louis Mendy?
Louis Gomez or Mendy, I control about Louis Lem.
His name is Luis. It might be Mendy or Gomez, but his name is Luis. I think it might be Luis Gomez.
Do you know where he came from and where he was working?
Yala na bora dame do andu yala na fana be do ko la fanna jumalto.
Atala foro ro bringa nga ko State House. Men be ena elma kadre mo nyaton ko atala foro ro wolum.
According to what he told me when I asked him, he said he was the head of the NIA stationed at the State House.
And the group he came with, were they in uniform?
Aninka fo men nada. Fo wol ye uniform wol dunda ba.
Wol fala nada sibia mbar Luis den ka wulon be wala wolum. Simis wulon.
Well, they were all in mufti. None of them wore any uniform. But Luis, as for himself, he was wearing a red shirt.
And do you know why this group was there?
Yala na nyinka fo nyimuna ya sabu beje. Inara udingirar.
Ala foro.
What he said.
Ako anara yakubanyolu ye kinang purkana ba kausula kam.
He said Yankuba and his group were sent to come and pick up Bakausu.
2 hours for 3 hours.
2 hours up to 3 hours. These people were unable to get out of Bakausu's compound. What is the cause of that?
Can you tell me how many people in total, approximately, were there on that night?
Foisa fono nye ulungo nyingu suro nyi mo nyanga mo membe nunje oje foisi fono nye ba.
Ofana la moto because when ala mo le dunda so male mo nanka wanje la bari mo siatal.
Well, there were many. In fact, his vehicle was also filled. So this is why there were so many that I cannot quantify them.
50?
Asiara mo talulo dilaba.
Nyumoro fulo kondo bula mo fo.
Are you referring to both groups, the first and second group? He's asking.
Yes, all of them in total.
Akwa be mo be ni be kafu nyoma mo fulo be.
No magic ya mo talulo kar mo fulata mo talulo ta no magic ya osi bari mo siatal. Bo korda be soron ne kara fo na korda dana korda dol men be ye dol ni
I don't think they are up to 50, but these two vehicles came and dropped these people there. Both vehicles were full. And I don't think these vehicles, the two of them, can carry about 50 people. But I know that some were stationed out of the compound. In fact, I used to go out and check around, and I see them standing at places.
And you mentioned that, some were inside. Yankuba Baji was definitely inside. Luis Gomez was inside. Some others were inside. And the rest surrounded the whole house. Yet Bakausu managed to disappear into thin air.
Anu ya fa yanko iko modo mo kotengo dolbe konoto. Yankuba ni dolbe konoto. Luis fananara anala mo dolbe konoto dolbe banda. Ibe Bakausu la bungono. Anu hanika bi Bakausu nata na katakule fa anara yema nyimol kono mol bulu.
Well, I can say that they went asleep, standing on their feet. Just as we are facing each other, looking at each other. This is how Yankuba was facing Bakausu. Just like if I get up here and go out without you people noticing me. I think after Bakausu left, 30 to 1 hour, that was the time when they realized that Bakausu has already disappeared.
Well, perhaps maybe at the end of your testimony you can try that stunt, and so that we can see you demonstrate it.
Bandula do finansi o katakul ke yake ngajibe fo abetamala
finansi yema
mbala mason mutal.
If I am going to do it, I will render all your machines useless.
Maybe you know the surah that he used on that day.
Sikeno yesuro soro nyi lonna muna famel na wolungola
awo mukullo dem famayo fo mukullo talba fana mukullo.
That's a secret. That's as our father told us. That's a secret. You cannot
Perhaps that
everything.
was the prayer that he was praying on that day when Yankuba was waiting for him. But did they eventually find him?
They cannot see him.
My apologies. I was just discussing with Esther. What did you say?
He said that they were unable to see him that day.
So they couldn't find him?
No, they didn't see him again.
What about subsequently, on another date?
That was the last day they set eyes on Bakausu. Bakausu, that's how he left the Gambia and never came back until just recently.
And did anything happen to you in particular on that day?
Whether from Kunding or Lungon, who Ketelaba, who is Rolaba.
After benda fama kabe duale nka kana duale la duaka jabile ni duata nyulbe tankala ntonga nambara Luis Konyoko in fact ni me de bakosma mensorete la basot.
Well, my father wanted to pray for them, but I told my father not to pray for them. If you pray for them, I know whatever you pray for these people, Allah will accept your prayers. And we, the family members, we will suffer because these people, that's what they intended. So at that point, Luis told me that if you don't keep quiet, what we intended to do with Bakausu, that's what we are going to do to you. I told him the kind of job these people are doing. They never explain matters clearly to people, even to their parents, much more somebody else.
Nitole nyosa boko ladro Luis Konyeko osise ngamento ma sise mfama ko ite todung.
Well, that's how I was agreeing with them. And then that man Sise, my father asked him his name. He said, I am from Kiang, my son name is Sise. My father told him that some of my children were born in Kudang, in Kiang. Where do you come from in Kiang?
I am Fajab Menaka, woman to see Yandona Arasanka,
He told my father, that's not our business, that's not what brought us here. Then I intervened and told my father, these people even don't talk nicely to people. That's the time he told me, now you, how are you talking? I told him, how did you talk to my father? I told him, now my answer has offended you. And you talked to my father in another offensive way. So now you see.
And after that exchange, were you arrested?
Then that's
the time when Luis told them to arrest me. What we intended for Bakausu, now we will do it to him.
Do you know what they meant by that?
Huh?
Wala mo because another Bakausu ya kibaro so la jani kana arrest wan ko ni mo boban ko kay wado be sama be falang ntol fa information so jani kara faro wala mo de konko ni Bakausu men soto ntele bo so wala faati wala soron dro kolon. Well, what I understand by that is because even before they came, somebody informed us that they will be coming to arrest Bakausu, but we stayed at home. So what I understand by that, what they intended to do to Bakausu is either they kill him or they lock him up for a long time, and I think that's what they intended to do to me, as far as they cannot get Bakausu.
And what happened to you after you were arrested?
After Louis Kogali found arrest nighter.
That's the time when Louis said, arrest this man and let's go with him. They caught my hand, grabbed my hand, and I pulled my hand from them. Another one caught, grabbed my other hand, and I whipped my hand from him. Now that's the time when they grabbed me. They put my hands on top of each other. This I'm talking about from Kiang, he took out a handcuff and they handcuffed me in front of my father in the house there. My father told him, you people, my elder son has disappeared and now you want to take this man away also and he might disappear. He told them, me, I am suffering from high blood. And if I have any other shock after this, I might die. So, then that's the time when I want to move my body, the handcuff gets tighter and tighter. Now, Sise told me, now, you are going to become by force, whether you like it or not. He told me, go out of the house. I told him, I am not going out. He got hold of my trouser, the waist of my trousers. That's the time he pulled me forcefully and took me out of the room.
Yamuta wala confirm yon tol kara silam ba ka so alsa be da na mam fundi adi manye ayale ndo manya mam men soro wolbo wosotla.
Now when we were outside, that Sise told my father, now as far as Bakauso has disappeared into thin air, now we are taking his younger brother. What we intended to do to him, that's what we are going to do to his younger brother.
Itara told him state house told him moto men itara yam fay moto ko ni nga drive for traje.
Well, the vehicle they came with from State House, that's the vehicle they took me to. I found the driver inside.
So they managed to handcuff you and detain you and take you into the vehicle.
Amanda ya kata fo e handcuff bule bulo da inata ne findindi ke samba.
And what happened this time around, Mr. Fofana? Did you forget the surah?
Muna kera ni sila dola. Fo e nyina ta soro nyina laba.
O soro ya betama ka hani kabi.
No,
mamfuta dan laro.
The surah is still going on. We have not yet reached the end of that surah.
Nem futa de yobo fana na fa lonal.
When we reach there, you will know the benefits of that surah.
Ko be mbulan la moto kono.
They wanted to put me on board the vehicle.
Ate sisa ni simi solo bala.
This Sise was wearing a shirt.
Namusu ala den ko mda saba ala den ko fara kaite en sambala.
My wife got hold of his shirt and pulled it, and the shirt tore. And my wife told him that you are not going to take him away.
Adama Fofana.
Her name is Adama Fofana. She told them that now, what are you doing? You people has made Bakausu to disappear. Now you want to take this man away too. My wife wanted to slap him, but the other one, there was somebody who told her no.
No, Mr. Interpreter, I believe it was the other way around.
Okay, Sise wanted to slap my wife.
One of the officers said no,
One
sir.
of the officers said no, sir. That's one of the officers, that's the time one of the officers said to Sise, no, you cannot, she's a woman, don't beat her.
Mr. Sise, we have very little time, so I just wanted to know, after you were arrested, placed in the vehicle, what eventually happened to you?
They told me, we are taking you away. It will be a long time. You will not sight the moon or the sun. Even on board the vehicle, I told them I will not tell lies. I have been fasting all these days. They told me that's what you are saying, but wait until we reach the venue. We were going after Bakote, before reaching Tipagaras. They themselves said, no, let's release this man. Now that's the benefit of the ayah. The verse. Now they said to themselves there, Louis said, let's go and lock up Taranga. And let's uproot their transformer before they will disseminate the information about Bakausu. In fact, it was rainy season, that's how they took me. I was in fact barefooted. They told me, now, from now against tomorrow, if you go to journalists or if they come to you, you happen to say anything, whatever happens to you is your own making.
Mr. Sise, tell us the truth. How did Bakausu escape?
Mr. Fofana.
Fofana, my apologies. Didn't he simply just jump over the fence?
Well, even if he jumped over the fence, an escape is an escape. He just escaped. Somebody who has been surrounded, fully surrounded and inside a room, well, if he disappears, well, he has escaped. Because if the door of your compound has been locked and you are all inside that compound, then if somebody escapes,
did you help him escape?
He was just going to jump over the
Sorry,
fence.
Mr. Interpreter.
Okay.
Did you help him escape?
Ako foite le ama ko kakanabang.
Sila hani mam futo bero.
Well, I cannot say all that.
Sa biro fana kala.
After all that,
Ndana nganda mobile ta na muso bulu.
I went back and took my mobile from my wife.
I miss call daughter je.
I found a missed call there.
Ngo call Bakausu yedango.
When I called that missed call, Bakausu answered at the other end.
Akonyo ko abedama nda akonyo si fero ke sinaje.
Where he was, he told me to go and meet him there.
Nka fode maro mam fongo telephone correct.
The 4-day marong I have mentioned, I called him again.
Ngasiaka se di telephone.
I called Siaka Seidi.
Wolum Bakausu la sultan on lelt.
Those people are close assistants to Bakausu.
So anim modol nge ko mane abedama don taraje.
I called some people and they accompanied me to go and meet Bakausu where he was.
Where was he?
Benu mintole.
Ngodo fana tuje.
No, I cannot mention that here.
Fair enough. Tell us if you eventually saw him.
Berata sila ngafanya bang ko be nyala bang foi nar na nya ajila bang.
Sabirin daro ro sama be kerinya ngambito ko ro pour Bakausu fundindi nya banko kam.
When we went there, it was raining now. So what we did there was we held a meeting and discussed how we are going to take Bakausu out of this country.
Akata funda ko fala kalwa bambanko kam.
He said he is not going anywhere. He is going to complete his prayers when he went into hibernation. He is going to complete that before he leaves the country.
Nga Gambia do ni ko be complete la dunia jan ko mobu kama bono dulata me baga sinana wanyari be damanto.
I told him the Gambia is a very small place. If you want to complete your hibernation in prayers here in this country, somebody will be able to locate you and they will give out the information.
Tell us what happened in the end. Did he stay in the Gambia or did he leave?
Afanya mamenke da ko be nyala bang fo anara na sabari banko kande bang fo anara na findile kata.
Suro fula wala ka jandron buru ngam fo Siaka Sedi.
He spent only 2 nights here. As I was saying, then Siaka Sedi.
Aka ndi be fala da be fala wala bari fundindo be lale kan.
Siaka Sedi told him, wherever you die, I will die along with you, but I'll make sure that I leave this country with you. And another young man called Sawane, he has now traveled, he's in Europe now.
And Abulai Fati, the Paramanga Abulai Fati Imamoti, the Talbolo Mode, but it's Abu Fati.
Somebody called Abdullah Fati, he is our student, not the Imam Fati.
I don't think we would make that mistake.
He is our student, but we call him Abu Fati. These are the people who took Bakausu out of the country.
Where did they go to?
They took the main road and went to Basori, Jiboro,
Senegal.
And that's how they entered into Senegal.
Which part of Senegal?
Senegal fan Najuma.
Senegal Casamas Taslima.
They went to They went to a place called Taslima in Casamas.
Unfortunately, we have to cut it short. Just tell me whether after that there were any attempts to arrest Bakausu again there in Casamas after he absconded.
Silam puruka kuonyi sutianiro fo kuonyi mbenyala mabina atara fo Casamas fo jang fana inarna kata kule ferele bang puruka ta no Casamas kata arrest nanjeba fo yol kata no bang.
Ko nga fo nyame ena edo ko abeda bara do ko nyi jamfantu ya bala fana ba kono.
As I said, the job of the NIA, well, I can say it's a good job, but there is always betrayals in the service.
Modole keta NIA elemade kafa ko dahaba.
There is somebody who said he is an NIA called Dahaba.
Ala original kabar na Jara Soma Dahaba Kunda.
He said he is from Dahaba Kunda in Jara Soma.
Aya fanna kinni Bakausu jani Bakausu ka bayan kateria ni Bakausu bodo woni arresting on be kono.
When they started following Bakausu during those arrests, he decided to come close and make himself a friend to Bakausu.
Ani ya jame na rafere jawdada.
Then he planned they concocted a plan with Yaya Jammeh, this Dahaba. So that they will go and get Bakausu and bring him into the country and kill him. What they did was, my own born father, who came from the same mother and father with our father, plus Bakausu's wife's father, Because Bakausu's wife is from the same mother and father with the chief of Jarasoma, Yaya Jajusi.
Ata yinda haba tara fero jawade da wala ko ya jambe ko ngata Bakausu kama ko bar nga fa natu lela nyoka ngata ngata Bakausu kama nan Casamance ay saynan.
He went to these people and fooled them and told them, well, Yaya Jamme sent me to you people so that we can join and go to Casamance and bring Bakausu so that he can come home.
Akata comfortable no Bakausu la karamo be yala tahfijo be yala dimbal be yanko be to yakrasi wandi banko ka tumaranke dati oto ko taka ka ko manyinya.
He told them Bakausu's schools are here. His students are here. Everything that he owns is in the Gambia. It will be very uncomfortable for him to go and stay in a foreign land with all those things behind him here.
Do you know whether the Haba eventually went to Casamance and whether he succeeded in bringing Bakausu back to the Gambia?
Yeah, I know. Going nyala bang. For the Haba narana ganyela bang. Puru ka Bakausu nene no waranto ka sondi no kamuru ni Gambia banko kanjamba.
Ya ala to kilo no borga hanga man succeed.
No, it failed because Bakausu was depending on Allah's name.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fofana. Unfortunately, we really have to stop here unless you want to say something very quickly.
Fancy law jandron. Funny ngatra kumadobe bulu lafta kamel lafa ko nyin kono do bari fancy si law jandron. Funny ngatra kumadobe bulu be lafta kamel lafa.
Ko ko nyin danja.
Ha, funny ngatra etela karola. Nin kuma be bulu be lafta kamel lafa bari entela atela karola ko ngaloja.
Don't forget that you will also have an opportunity to give your final remarks, and also the commissioners may have questions. So you could also say that whilst the commissioners are speaking to you.
No, you can't fana watu kumo bina murule kanane ni kumo na kumo watu sida bari commissioner fana be watu dile ni me nyini ngaro sore si nyini ngani ara ya soro bari kumo bina murule kanane be la fa kumo men sata kuma labango ila kumo kono.
I'm sorry that I had to stop you here, but we are really out of time.
Fancy lawyer jandrong signed in time or in the bakele fancy lawyer.
Mr. Chairman, I hand over the witness to you. That's the end of his testimony.
Thank you very much, Counsel, and thank you very much, Mr. Omar Fofana, for your testimony.
Barakabake Council, Barakabake Omar Fofana, ila said and the
and thank you for taking us through 15 minutes of some magical journey.
We are Barakabake Yenta Menke, young Kono Diam, Minitani Lulu, Kuala Mealonko, London, Lukaringola, Calorale.
Of disappearance and reappearance, I guess.
Lolan Kamu, Kafili, and in Kanafindi, Kana Yefilian and Afindi Fanang, all Kangol Katanyame, all Katanyame. And
confusing perpetrators.
Amul Mealonko, Nata Murarola, Hakilul Jagasindi, or NILD.
You should have shared the Trrc for 22 years with perpetrators. Yeah, maybe we would not have had a TRRC.
Oh, in London, Yana Talala, new Molnu, Purisaja, new Molmen Kamul feeling it and Usaje, Tanun Tenin TRRC from Tasrolan.
Either victims who would disappear,
Waranto Mola Mealonko, Filita.
Or the perpetrators themselves would all disappear from the Gambia. It's an extraordinary story. Commissioners, if you have any questions, please indicate. There doesn't seem to be any. If you have, oh, sorry, please go ahead.
Commissioner Jallo, Omar.
Alpha, Council, I mean to say.
Abesirin Casamas Tasili Sejokoma Fansun Sato Logi.
Bakausu is presently staying behind Sejo in Casamas. He has his own village there.
Thank you.
Baraka.
Thank you very much. If you have any closing remarks to make, Mr. Fofana, please proceed to do so now.
Silang Mr. Fofana, niyo kumasoro ifana mbele flakela kumoda soro menna isafo.
Sa da abala nyum ko nyum konto ngolo to fo.
Ani amunta saying ilaftale itafanang ibela fila kuma kama memfola banko moli. Wairi nyimbe kita ye silang ko kita nyami ya sata banko moli. Saying memmen nata sede aro la jang ko bandulato e ka silo di itafanan nale itafana ye dia mu banko moli purka kolu nyinyandi wala bakilela kumo kum farawti.
Wala mo inde ko ndol nga ala tend folo nga ala jey.
Well, what I will say,
Because nyisi oko mbe sodla ma mirafang.
Akoy microphone o katandi fana domandi.
Nyisi oko mbe sodla fa mai la mafang.
Well, it's fine. I thank Allah the Almighty because I never thought that this day will come.
Allah ka fo Lord la betata bak.
Well, this commission is a very, very good one. This is all just to try and establish peace in the country. So that people who has some things in their minds can come and reveal it. Gambia, we are all one. We are all the same mother and father. We are the people who marry each other. If anybody goes into a problem, gets into a problem, then you are also in a problem. Our leader, the Holy Prophet, he said, don't try to pay hardship with another hardship. The Prophet himself, when he won everything at the end, he forgave people. For us also, we are forgiving others. The destruction that Yaya Jammeh did in this country, if we want to follow that and revenge, you are going to destroy this country. Because some people did some things, it was against their will. Some people is because of they are not God-fearing. But all that is due to Satan's machinations. But for us, we are a religious family. So we are forgiving and we have forgiven. If not, Bakhaus himself didn't want to attend this. Because he saw that he is following the religious path. Whatever happens to him there, well, is well and good to him. But because of the law of the country should be respected by everybody. What happened to him, he himself will come and clarify things. So that we can forgive one another. So those others who remained will now learn their lesson and do things accordingly so that they will also stand on the right path. Humanity is highly respected. Nobody should destroy humanity. If you think that you have the power and the ability to do or to cause problem for other people, one fine day, those powers, you will lose them. But Allah's supreme will always remain. So everybody should think like that and be care and take care of those things. We have been here for quite a long time, so I want to repeat that we have forgiven. We are very unhappy because of what happened to the family. We still have that unhappiness in us. But whatever Allah decides will happen. So and nobody is wise enough to be able to escape Allah's decision. So my thanks to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fofana, for your testimony, and thank you so much for those closing remarks.
Mr. Fofana.
And I'm sorry also that your family had to endure so much in the hands of the state. Thank you again for coming to testify. This brings us to the end of this week's public hearings. And we will resume our public hearings on Monday morning, 10 o'clock. But in the meantime, the work of the commission continues at committee level.
Bari onyawnyanding commission wala do ko be continue le committee ol level loring menu be do ko continue.
We have been doing that without a public announcement of committee works, but we would start it from now on.
Meta wala lenka o kele nun adu abuka kankula barbitum mba datila le kote ke ka continue wo do ko wala.
There are two committees meeting tomorrow morning.
Committee fula be benna sama somanda.
A committee on reparations.
Committee olu menu marata buluma sayo Kenyala.
And Human Rights Committee.
And in committee menu marata hadamaya nyanto Kenyalula.
I'll remind you that the Commission established 5 subsidiary bodies, 5 committees.
Ka jamaa hakilo bulandi ko nyin commission ye committee kuma lulu le londi.
In addition to the 2 that I mentioned,
nyim fulo lu menu ngaw foten wolu kola committee dolu be kerin.
You have a committee on amnesty.
Committee obije me yalonko wolle marata puru misali kama yamfa kuolula.
Committee on reconciliation.
Committee obije menu marata kamolu seindi nyokan wole msai nyokan oti.
And the committee on child protection and the gender issues.
Andun committee do bije men fana marata dindinglu kanto ni tankandola ani musol la kunyalula.
Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, the committee on reparations would meet.
Sinin somanda talantang committee o memmarta bulma sai kunyalula wolle nyanta bengokela.
To be followed by the committee on human rights at 11:30.
Ni obotaje talantan nin kilin nin tala committee o memmarta hadama ya nyanto kenyalula wolle fanal be bengodatila.
We will meet in the conference room upstairs here.
Ibe benna nyin dinkira la bembumbato e kafudama conference room membe bunja santo.
And the various committees are not meeting in public right away or open meetings, but if the chairs of the committees decide that a public meeting is necessary, they would go ahead and take that decision.
Between yin committee olu bukaben jama kono jama bari wo committee ol la siranti olu no lu yaje ko anyanta kala jama bengoleti bitun hanimbi olu be continue la kawo bengo ke wonya.
The rules of procedure do allow this.
Na kuolu sambanya sartolu ikasongolu dolu lale.
The committees apply the rules of procedure of the commission.
Bitun sa en committee wala sartolu lanya kuolu katama ni wolela ning anyanta.
Sorry, mitatis mutandis is a Latin thing, but it's where necessary with the changes.
Na anyanta misali kama wo falingulu menu nyanta kela.
So we will bring our proceedings to a close today with that announcement, and we'll see you in the public hearings on Monday, 10 o'clock.
Bitun nyen kuma kangole kulu bambi mbe kulu kumfala janne bitun fotene lungo talanta nguli hawato kote kensina benjanga tenten CDR bengolla.
Thank you all very much, and have a nice weekend, and we'll see you Monday. Meeting's adjourned.
Ala baraka fotenengo.